The mask, it protects my privacy. I didn't really want people knowing I was trading. I blocked 500 people that knew me in my area.
Do your parents see you as a failure now? A trader that's passed multiple prop firm challenges, been funded by multiple prop firms, and has actual payouts to back it up.
Like I said this before as well, like how would you expect to manage thousands in capital when you can't even manage your own day-to-day life? The people that usually have bad psychology, they're usually living a terrible life.
Do you use any fundamentals or any COT data or order flow or anything like that?
I don't use no fundamentals.
I would deem it as gambling, yeah.
No, it's not.
You don't think it's gambling?
It's not.
He's not currently trading with QT, which is exactly why this conversation matters. It makes it extra special because he's been an online critique of QT. Therefore, we're not here to promote, we're here to dissect. Real experience, zero fluff.
I say the biggest scam has to be prop funds purely because when I was funded with Tekel, but there are certain prop funds out there, I'm gonna say any names.
So, explain your background, your trading, how did you get into it, what ages did you get into it, and just kind of give us how you started in your trading career.
Yeah, so what I used to do is I used to cut hair. I used to be a barber. So because of that, obviously it was decent money for my age at the time, but I wanted more in life. I always had a big aspiration to go and do more. One of my friends I used to cut his hair, he told me about signals, trading signals. And if you guys know Gold Trader Mo, he's out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I used to trade with Gold Trader Mo, taking the signals. And I remember the first day I blew my first funded account, like I wasn't really pressed. I thought I'd just run it back and I passed it. And just that day over there, by me passing a 6K valuation, I was in, like, I can't remember how much drawdown, but I made like 1K on the account. But the fact that that was a 6K and I made 1K in one day, obviously it was the valuation money, but the fact that I'd done it on a 6K, I saw that there was real potential in trading. So that's what kind of led me on to carrying on trading. Eventually I did obviously take accountability and stop taking signals and then learning how to trade. That journey there took me around a year until I started seeing results.
Okay, so you took one trade,
yeah,
and that showed you that you can actually make money from trading. So it kind of
that was all I needed.
It's like a light bulb event in your head.
Yeah,
okay,
literally.
So from there on, when did you actually take trading seriously? What was the reason you said, okay, I want to actually make a career out of this?
So I think it was that moment there itself that was enough for me to realize how much potential there was in trading, because I saw that people were trading on 200Ks. I see all these big influencers online, see that they were trading with a lot of capital, and I was thinking, just doing the last 2% with $1 million funding, you can make serious money out here. So that's what kind of led me to carry on trading. And once I dropped out of school, that's when I went all out.
Yeah, okay. So why prop firms? Why did you decide to go with prop firms straight off the bat?
It's kind of self-explanatory. With prop firms, you don't need a lot of money, you just need skill, right? And you need skill whether you're on a prop firm or a live account. The prop firm itself, it's so much of a better option purely because you're not trading with your own money. Yes, you have to get a challenge fee, but trading with 200K and only paying a couple $100, that's so much more worth it than actually putting your live money into the market.
Yeah. So you've never traded cash throughout your
I've traded like when I first started, I was trading a live account. Like I put like a bill into it, I lost it, but yeah.
Let's discuss the elephant in the room. What is with the Bally?
The mask, it protects my privacy. I didn't really want people knowing I was trading because I had no results to show. But once I got results to show, like I didn't really care anymore because it was kind of embarrassing. Like no one knew I was trading. Like when I started my social media page, I blocked 500 people that knew me in my area just because I didn't want them to know, right? And then when eventually, now I've got results, alhamdulillah, like I can take it off. I don't really care if they know because they can't really say anything. But before, they could kind of violate me.
All right, so for the rest of the pod, should we keep the Bally off? Keep the Bally off. Perfect. Right.
Oh my, it's so hot.
So before you said you dropped out of college, explain to me that process. How did you actually, like with your parents and stuff like that? Because I've got the same experience.
Yeah.
So how did that go?
I'll be honest, it was exam season, and because my exams were getting in the way of my trading, I hated it so much, I just didn't go in. Like I remember my teacher, she came to my school to pick me up for my exam because I didn't go in. So, and then from there, I just once the exams were done, I just said, let me just leave it, just go all out on trading.
How did your parents react to that?
They were mad.
Yeah.
They did not like it whatsoever.
How did you persuade them that it was the right decision?
Like, they were getting on to me every single day. Go back to school, go get a job, get an apprenticeship, do something good with your life. They didn't really see the vision. But I was so dead. I knew, I believed in it. Even when I hadn't made a single penny from the market back then, but I still went all out because I knew there was so much potential to be made. I knew one payout would wipe away all of my losses.
Yeah. And now your parents are kind of seeing that was the right decision, or are you still battling with them?
Yeah, no. They occasionally, as a joke, they say, yeah, go back to school. But overall, they're proud. They can see that I'm taking care of myself. I'm starting to take care of the family, alhamdulillah. So they're not really, they can't say anything. Yeah. And if anything, with Asian parents, they've got such like, not in a bad way, it's like ego, right? It's like, they don't want to admit that they're wrong, right? So whenever I bring it up, like, or should I have gone to school? Obviously, they laugh it off. They don't want to admit that.
Okay, so let's go deeper into your trading, your personal trading. What strategy are you currently trading?
It's more, I'm not going to say the strategy, but it's more so ICT concepts.
Okay.
Right?
Why ICT?
So it works.
What specifically in ICT theory do you trade?
So mainly for conferences, I use ICT, but in terms of actually trading, the conferences mean nothing without actually having narrative on the market.
Yeah. Okay. So do you use any fundamentals or any COT data or order flow or anything like that?
I don't use no fundamentals.
Just purely ICT?
Yeah, technically.
A bit controversial. I don't know if I agree with that one, but so because you're an ICT trader, do you believe the markets are algorithmic?
Everyone's got their own weird theory about the way that the market moves. My theory is the actual people that move in the markets, they're the big institutions, whatever it may be. I don't know if it's true. You guys can correct it online if you guys are watching. But my theory is these guys, they leave essentially like little trails on where they're going to send price. And that's where we capitalize off of it. Because if the higher time frame is bullish, there'll be signs of it being bullish. Whichever concept you trade, there'll be signs. And that's because they've loaded their positions in. So that's kind of my theory, I guess.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I haven't really heard any other theories to do with it, but I think it's a very broad statement for how the entire market's controlled.
Yeah.
And I think it's, I don't know either how the market's run.
I don't really care like how the market, like I know the concepts work, does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's all that really matters.
So do you trade like turtle soups or any of the fancy names that ICT strategies have?
In very simple terms, and you guys can go on trading views, look at it for yourself. Every single expansion, before the expansion actually happens, there's a liquidity sweep, market structure shift, a fair value gap, and an entry. Every single expansion. So them expansions there, whatever you use in ICT, whatever concept it may be, that itself can help you capitalize off of the expansion. You just have to know which one to take. Because the liquidity sweep and the market structure shift happens 107 times a day. It's to actually catching the real one.
Have you discovered that from forward testing or back testing?
You can just go back to, give me a chart right now. I'll find the liquidity sweep. Before any expansion, just look for a big move in the market, go back to the top or the bottom. There'll be a liquidity sweep and there'll be a market structure shift, and a fair value gap will get retested.
What's your entry based on that theory then?
What do you mean?
So you see the liquidity sweep and displacement, etc., like you said, and then when do you actually enter on that move?
Once it retraces back in, tag in.
Okay.
Sometimes I can take an aggressive entry directly off of the liquidity sweep or inducement, whatever you guys call it.
Okay, I'd love to see that. To be honest, I don't know if you could do a segment on that where he shows me.
The aggressive entries are a lot there's a lot more riskier. That makes sense because you get very tight stops with an aggressive entry.
Okay, what pipette stops do you usually use? Or well, let's scratch that for now. What pairs do you trade?
EURUSD, GBPUSD. I've been touching up on GBP JPY a lot recently.
Okay.
I've traded NAS and US30 before, but mainly, if I'm being honest, I focus on EURUSD.
EURUSD. I'm the same. So what pip stop loss do you usually have when you trade?
Usually, if it's I don't care how tight it is. It can be 2 pips. I've had the tightest stop loss I've probably had is 1.5 pips. In general, probably 3 to 6 pips is what I'd look for.
Okay. And what's your average RR per trade?
Give or take 1 to 4, 1 to 5 maybe.
And you trade in the 1 minute?
Yeah.
Okay.
I use every single time frame. Like I do a top-down analysis, but my entries on the 1 minute.
And you're trading New York session open?
No, I trade New York, London. I've done Asia.
Oh, you trade all the sessions?
Yeah,
just whenever
the move happens. Yeah.
So isn't that move based on ICT? Isn't that move determined on the opening or closing of a session though?
I mean, yeah, that's you're talking about open, high, low, close as an AMD theory. Yeah. I mean, you could use that. I don't really care too much about where the market manipulates. Like if the entry's there, the entry's there.
Yeah. So in your career, did you do a lot of backtesting, or was it just?
Yeah.
So you did a lot.
Crazy amounts.
How much?
Like there'll be times, especially when I was on profit. Like, now I don't backtest. Alhamdulillah, I don't really need to really work on strategy. I can go over my journal, see the data. The data is that I've collected all the data, right? But when I first started off trading, I was so crazy about it. Like I said, I dropped out. I had no money. I needed to make it work. Like I needed trading to work. So I remember days. Like I'm not saying this for the sake of the camera, but there would generally be days where I would go back test. I'd come out and it's night. It's like 12-hour days. Generally, I'd start at 12 o'clock and I'd leave at 12 o'clock just to go sleep. Only in between, I'd go to pray or whatnot.
Okay, so for the viewers, you'd recommend
No,
backtesting?
don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, no, backtesting.
But backtest, yeah, you need to collect data to know which works and what works and what doesn't.
And do you collect data on your forward testing, so your live trades?
Yeah, I've kind of done it all now, so I know what my average win rate is. I know what essentially I trade. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'd personally recommend keeping up to date with your current trades. Because if you're going on a losing streak, you need to figure out how.
100%.
Keeping on top of it is really good for you. I think in regards to your USD, have you dabbled in any other pairs or any, like you said, GBP JPY? How have you been getting on with GBP JPY?
It's very similar. It has they're all, I think all pairs are. The one thing with Forex that I don't like is it takes a long time to go and take profit. With NAS or US30, it's like sometimes you could bet your whole life savings is gonna go hit because the way it moves, it just goes. Like, it doesn't hesitate. It doesn't argue back. Forex tends to give a bit more turbulence, you could say.
Yeah.
But in terms of GJ, I'd say it's very similar to EURUSD.
You ever thought about trading gold?
traded it before.
Yeah.
I don't really like it too much.
Why?
It's a bit. I got PTSD from gold trader more, man. I'll be honest.
You got PTSD from what?
Gold trader more, the signal.
Oh, true. How do you detach yourself like emotionally from trades? Because obviously every trader goes through losses.
Yeah.
Every trader goes through a losing streak, as we spoke about. How do you kind of get over that hurdle of going through a losing streak or struggling?
Eventually, like after all the losses you've taken, you just become, as cliche as it sounds, you become numb to it. It doesn't really affect you. It's like, yeah, you lost this much. It doesn't affect you anymore. You can get hit a certain amount of times until it's a loss. You've got to accept it.
Yeah, because you could use data to kind of refine that as well.
That's another thing as well. Like with your losses, there's. I think.
I was going to say, you could have hammered on because he said he doesn't backtest anymore because it's fine. But you guys can just go.
I was going to say that's a bit silly because if the markets are changing, backtesting won't really do anything.
I do.
Seriously.
But that's only for data collection.
I'll mess around with it. Like I'll just jump onto runtime.
I think if I'm not trading actively, I need to keep my mind ticking. And if I'm not doing any of the work, then I'm on FX replay, constantly like looking at my patterns, looking at my charts, and keeping my edge on point basically. So now you're basically saying to funded traders or profitable traders to stop backtesting and just trade in the low markets.
You can still backtest if you want, but I don't see a use in it.
Like, why don't you see a use in it?
Because once you've got your strategy, you know it works. You've got the data forward tested and with the backtest to show that it works. What are you going to do?
I agree with that. I think, like you said, markets changing all the time. But
that's for forward testing. There's no point going back to 2021 trying to figure out how has Trump affected the market. It's not going to.
So I think at the point of being a funded trader and a profitable trader, I think the best thing is to journal your trades.
100%.
So figure out when you lost, how you lost, how you won as well, which is really important. So 90% of trading, in my opinion, is psychology.
Yeah.
Right? It's easy to collect data and then say, this trading is profitable, but when it's not profitable, how do you actually deal with that? Because you can't say that you're completely bulletproof. There is going to be an emotional...
So you're trying to say like, you got a profitable strategy, but you're not profitable?
No, I'm saying if you, like you said with the data, you proved to yourself that you're profitable. But then what happens if you go through a losing streak? How do you deal with that losing streak?
So me personally, whenever I'm on a losing streak and I'm going through really bad losses, the first thing I will usually do is I'll take a step back from trading. I'll maybe just decrease my risk, go back on paper, start forward testing to try to build my conviction back up. Because one thing that going on a losing streak does, no matter how good your strategy is, it ruins your conviction. So, and this is what you tend to find with a lot of people when they're on a losing streak. They'll be on a losing streak, and the one A quality setup that forms, they will hesitate to take the entry and they'll miss it. And that was a trade that would have got them out of drawdown because they've lost all their conviction and trust in themselves. So what I do is I'll try to build that conviction back up through forward testing, paper trading, whatever it may be, just to build that skill up that, I can still call it. I've still got it in me, essentially.
Okay, cool. So you saying if you go for a losing streak, you'll decrease your risk, but then you're decreasing your reward as well.
I mean, you could do, but the whole point is with a losing streak, because your trust in your own ability is so low, if you were to go in your normal risk, you wouldn't be able to accept the loss as well. So you might start overtrading, revenge trading. The whole reason why people overtrade or revenge trade is purely because they haven't accepted the loss. That's all it is. Because if you haven't accepted the loss, you'll try to go get that money. You think, no, ain't no way I'm letting the market take that from me. I'm gonna go get it back.
Have you ever revenge traded
100%, bro. Yeah.
Like a lot?
Yeah, I've had some really bad days, bro.
Yeah?
Literally.
Give me a scenario of a bad day for you.
The one thing that I tried to do is I will try, if I do crash out on a bad day, I will try not to breach the account on daily drawdown. Like I'll try my best. So usually what happens is I don't know, I've had so many bad days, it's insane. I don't know how to start.
So so if you're near touching daily drawdown, what's the risk per trade
I'll
that you're
rotate
looking
account.
at? Say again?
Yes, I'll rotate account.
You rotate accounts?
That's the bad thing. Like now, instead of getting one account in drawdown and stepping back, the bad days that I do have, like if it's a really bad day, I'll rotate account, get that one in drawdown, rotate account.
Yeah, that's a big rabbit hole to get into. So you'd recommend to the people watching this to not do that?
Yeah, of course.
I think rotating accounts is a good thing because, like you said, you might have a couple of losses, then the third one might be a win.
Yeah.
But then it works backwards because
now you just transferred money essentially from one account to another.
So you basically recycle accounts a lot of the time?
Yeah, I don't trade more than one or two accounts at the same time.
Yeah.
With live accounts, I trade one account at the same max, like in one go.
The other way I'd say doing that is when you're profitable, that's when you switch to account. So then you don't eat into your win.
What do you mean?
So let's say, for example, you had a funded account, you made 3% on valuation step one.
Yeah.
Instead of going...
Just trying to pass that account,
rotate to another account, keep that 3% for that day, because that's a good day in most people's eyes. Rotate, and then if you have a couple of losses, you're not feeding into the winning account. Does that make sense?
Would you only do that for that day, or would you do it in terms of all of the accounts?
Specifically a day, probably.
Yeah. So if you're up 3% on one account and you had another account that was at break even, would you trade that account?
Yeah.
The break-even account or which one would you trade? Would you
Just
leave
any
the one?
account.
Oh,
If it's up, down, whatever. But for that specific day,
But why wouldn't you focus more on actually just trading the account that's up and that's about to pass?
say that again.
Why wouldn't you just focus on the account that's already in profit? Because you're about to pass that account. Let's say
Yeah,
like 3,
I
4,
agree.
5%.
But why not close the day out in profit?
Yeah, but I'm
You
saying,
solidified, reset for the next day, and then if you want to take more trades, take it on another account, and then that account that you've done well on stays the same,
fair enough.
right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
I think it works both ways. I mean, after a win, you're kind of, if your win rate is 50%, which is average, would you say? I think it's a bit less than that actually. But if your win rate, let's say 50%, your next trade is going to lose, right? So why not rotate account?
So we're getting probabilities though, because one account could keep hitting like 2, 3 TPs back to back, and then you could lost account.
That's true. But then even saying that, then you'll have 2 accounts that are at 3, 4%, and you're diversified, right?
Fair enough.
Learning, I think. So if I looked at your losing days, so if you show me an account and I see the trades of losses, what would a typical thing keep arising if I reviewed your trades? Would you say habits, bad habits?
Yeah, I'd say my biggest bad habit is probably taking a low quality setup, like taking silly trades that are not like taking a setup where I could go hit. It's just silly trades, silly losses.
Would you expand on that?
Yeah, so there'll be a setup where I know it's not I don't have my full conviction in it, but I'll still take it.
Okay. What would make you do that though? What specifically? And how did you get over that? Actually, is a better question. How would you?
If I'm being completely honest, I still make the mistakes. Like maybe it's just me, but I've seen other traders out in the industry as well that I've got to a very big level and they still have bad days. Like,
it's natural, yeah. But what's your next goal to kind of
get over that?
Yeah.
So the one thing I've really started doing a lot recently. Let's say I'm looking for price to tap into a fair value gap or a point of interest. I'll set an alert on that point of interest and I'll just get off.
Yeah.
Because that way, I can't do anything unless it hits my point of interest.
That's true. Do you ever move your SL?
Or stop loss. Yeah. I trim my stop loss so I go break even.
What do you base it on price action or do you just base?
I base it on price action mainly. Yeah.
What, like high lows if you're in longs?
Yeah, essentially.
I agree with that. Okay, cool. What's kind of like the biggest? We'll go into the scam side of it now, I think, because that section is pretty much done now. What would you say the biggest scam that traders experience in the trader market or trading industry?
I say prop firms.
Okay, why prop firms?
Let me think. Good answer.
I need a sip of water after that. Go on.
I say the biggest scam has to be prop firms purely because I know a lot of traders that they work so hard on phase 1 and phase 2, and this could be the last pennies or pounds, whatever it is, that spend to get their account, and all of a sudden at the end they get their payout denied, and that's a big loss. That's a big loss. Coming into it, like blindly trading off of trading signals, bots, all that stuff. Everyone knows that's a scam. Like it's very known in the industry, but prop firms is one thing you can't avoid. It gets a lot of people down.
But if you follow the rules, you're going to get a payout.
No, of course. Majority of prop firms, like I'm saying this now, not every single prop firm is a scam. Majority of prop firms, they will pay you out if you follow their rules. But there are certain prop firms out there, I'm not going to say any names, that kind of do you wrong.
Well, just don't go with them prop firms, no?
Yeah, but you don't
go
know
with the likes of Quant.
Yeah, but some people don't know until they're there.
It's true. You do have to go through that to kind of know to go with the better prop firms. I wouldn't say the biggest scam in trading is a prop firm, though.
It is, though. It gets so many people down.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say
that gets more people down than signals do.
I would say martingale algorithmic strategies.
What?
You know about that? No? I'd say signals. I'd say signals are the biggest scam. Especially if they have a broker deal.
Fair enough.
But I don't think... So without saying names, what type of rules or what type of things would cause a breach or a decline of a payout?
What do you mean?
So if, like you said, your friends are trading on prop firms and they're getting their payouts breached, why?
Well, a lot of the prop firms are different, so different prop firms, different rules.
Yeah.
Majority of it there'll be like some silly news rule. Like I remember one of my friends, he was trading news, like during news, but it was with a whole other, let's say he was trading USD, and there was like JPY news, they got him down for that. Like small stuff like that, like it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. But I mean, I would suggest to either not go with, can we swear? Yeah. Either not go with shit prop firms or to go into the FAQs and study them more than your trades. Because I as a trader myself, and I've breached loads of accounts, breached loads of payouts, don't get me wrong. And it's not because I'm a bad trader, it's because I can't read a simple document. So anyone that says prop firms are a scam or this rule is bullshit, you just have to study the FAQs. And I think that's the best piece of advice I can give to that. What do you think the most overhyped thing currently is in the trading space?
Trading itself, trading is a boring job. Trading is you just sit there. That's the overhyped part. Everything's trading or trader. It's just looking at candles.
I think it could be fun though. You don't think?
When you're in the trade, I can't lie. Like,
We want to persuade these people to start trading.
No, trading is fun, especially when you call price action right and you hit a profit. Of course, you get dopamine, but the majority of the time, you're not in a trade. You're just sitting there watching.
Yeah.
So
it can be boring.
Yeah.
I think trading is it depends on how you are as a trader. You can go into a massive rabbit hole with trading, like learning all these different theories and strategies and economic news and etc. But I think, what specifically would you say makes it boring for you? Because obviously you think it's boring.
Well, in general, like a high quality setup won't form every single day, every single session. So waiting for that's the boring part.
Could you not set levels and alerts on your chart?
Yeah, you could do, but you still have to monitor what price is doing, because sometimes like the buyers could flip, especially on the lower time frame. Like where I'm catching intra-session moves, the market, the intraday buyers could flip very quickly. So you kind of have to be on charts and always be able to adapt and react.
It's true. Previously in this video, I've talked about psychology. We touched on it slightly. Do you think psychology is the biggest thing in trading, or
No?
No. Okay.
I think psychology is a coping method for a lot of people, purely because a lot of people, they don't even have a profitable strategy. So if you don't have a profitable strategy, how can you even expect your psychology to be good? If I give you a strategy that's going to make you lose your funded accounts, you're going to keep losing. You're going to think, what's wrong with me? Why is the strategy not working? You're going to start taking re-entries. It will cause your psychology to be bad. Then, once you've got a good strategy, then you can blame psychology all you want. But until then, fix your strategy. A lot of people haven't even backtested or collected data on their strategy to know if it works.
I completely agree with that. I think once you've proved yourself that this strategy works, your psychology starts to dip. Especially with like stop losses and TPs and having a set trade and a system. I think psychology, but sometimes, I'm going to disagree on this side of it, sometimes you can't help with your psychology.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%.
I think some people just aren't built for trading. Would you agree with that?
No.
No.
I feel like whether you're unprofitable or profitable, no, I mean, when you're unprofitable, you can still work on your psychology, man. You can still fix it. Like your mind is the most powerful weapon you have. Why wouldn't you be able to use that weapon in your favor?
Yeah. I think a lot of people have weaker minds than you think, though.
Yeah, that's their fault. That's their fault.
Correct. But is that based off their personality or their psychology?
Everything. The people that usually have bad psychology, they're usually living a terrible life. Not to bring them down, but they're not going to gym, they're not taking care of themselves, showering, clean, all these things are just the low life, man. That's
true. So, touching on that, do you have a good routine to keep with your psychology, go to the gym, things like that?
Yeah, alhamdulillah. I don't know if you can tell.
This guy. Yeah, I mean, I think every trader should have a routine. I don't think you should jump out of bed, jump on your USD. I said
before as well, like, how would you expect to manage thousands in capital when you can't even manage your own day-to-day life?
It's true. So, talking about traders coming into the industry, what do you say would be the most unfair expectation for traders?
You have a Lambo next week.
Yeah.
That's what I had. Like, generally, when I came to trading, I done the maths. I was like, 2%. The signal guy makes 2%. Yeah, and then it didn't go well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think not a lot of people will. I don't know if you've seen the videos online where they go, "Oh, I need a 200k account with
2% a month.
2% a month, and then I can do this and do that." I think that's.
It's definitely doable. Because if you have multiple accounts, you must be really bad to continue hitting stop loss on every single one of these accounts.
Yeah. It's like saying I can sell a product for £100,000 each, and if I just sell 10 of them, I'm a millionaire.
It's a lot more behind
It's good in theory, but it's important in practice.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think the biggest thing for expectation is just to show yourself rather than obviously have a plan. But
I think people should have more higher expectations of themselves rather than the outcome. Because once you have a big, good expectation of what you should be doing, and you stay to that expectation, you'll bring results.
Yeah, I agree with that. So obviously there's loads of challenges out there in the industry. What would you say your favourite go-to one is?
2-step, can't go wrong.
2-step.
Usually with prop firms that don't have consistency rules with 2 steps and all these weird rules, can't go wrong.
What would you say the worst one is currently?
Probably 1-step, set up for failure. Like you literally have to, it's like gambling. You have to double your account without losing. It's set up for failure.
Expand on that a little bit.
The only reason why people pick a 1-step account over a 2-step is, first of all, they're unprofitable. They lack the skill and they think if I can just pass phase on, I can get the payout. Second of all, with 1-steps, they're just trying to rush greatness. They're trying to rush that payout cycle. They can't be bothered to do phase 1, do phase 2.
Yeah. I only think the difference with one step is you just have a slightly little bit more rules with consistency and things like that.
Yeah, but the main problem is the max drawdown is a lot less.
But if you're a profitable trader and your win rate's good,
No, even
why
then,
not?
like I've been in, there's a lot of accounts which I've had, which I've even passed, and I've been in serious drawdown, but I managed to turn it around. If that was one step, I'd be broke right now.
I agree in regards to that. So you can basically allow
You need to
yourself to have
understand, like,
losses.
As a trader, you need to understand if you're going for a one step, you've set yourself up for failure. You just said there that with not having that much drawdown, it shouldn't be a problem if you're profitable. But if you're profitable, you should know and account for there'll be times where you're going on a serious losing streak, where you're going in, when you've got in serious drawdown, you need to account for them times. Because them times, that's where traders are made, when you're in drawdown.
It's true. What do you think of free step then? Because if you're saying one step's not for profitable traders,
Free
then
steps have 10% max drawdown.
so Quant Tekel's 3-step program is 6% profit target on all 3 stages, 4% daily drawdown, and 10% max overall drawdown. So would you opt for a free step?
I think that could also damage your psychology as well to an extent. Yeah, it's so I've seen with other prop firms with 3-step evaluations, they have pros to it. Like they'll give you more of a profit split. But in general, it is a psychological burden to go for phase 1, pass that. Now you're on phase 2, you pass that, and then on the final stage, it can kind of put pressure on you.
Yeah, you've got a higher factor of losing the account.
Yeah, essentially,
Yeah.
you've got to go for 3 phases.
But they are cheaper than a 2-step. So would you advise that maybe the younger traders that get into the industry having to show consistency in their trading to themselves and also props, I think 3-step would be a good option. Do you?
I'd say 2-step. You can't go wrong with 2 steps.
But if they ain't got the money, why?
Save up. If you don't have the another thing as well, if you don't have the money in your trading, you're guaranteed, you've set yourself up for failure once again.
That's true. Okay, so let's touch on that a bit more. So what would you say the good amount to start off with for trading?
It's not even to start. Like you could have £0, but if you've got money consistently coming in, that's the main thing, right? It doesn't really matter how much you have to your name, because if you have a lot to your name, you could just end up trying to gamble with that and lose it all. But if you just have money consistently coming in, it will take that psychological pressure off your shoulders and it will give you that peace of mind.
But do you not think that you can get into a bit of a rabbit hole with that? Because if, let's say, for example, I don't know what the average monthly is, like 1,400, 1,500 quid a month.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. So if you're earning, let's say, £1,500 a month, and you're spending, if you're buying 3 100k accounts per month, do you not see that you can get into a bit of a rabbit hole with that by losing all your salary that you worked hard for?
Just keep going. Hard done.
Gambler's mindset, yeah.
No, not gambler's mindset. You don't have a choice. If you blow on the account, as long as you're learning from it and you're actually trying to pass the next one, you just got to run it back.
Yeah, I think you should do a percentage of your income.
Could do.
Yeah, I don't think you should maybe split, because you can get into an easy rabbit hole. And trust me, based off that experience, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think 3 steps could be good for starters. But 2-step, agree. 2-step is the best for anyone really. Intermediate to advanced traders, I think 2-step's good. What's your thoughts on instant funding?
From what I've seen, they've got a lot of weird rules. Like when it comes to I don't even know how consistency rule works, if I'm being honest. Like I just know it's a very annoying rule that can get you down. So I don't know, I've just seen they've got a lot of weird rules. Plus, like your payout split is very small. It's not worth it for me.
Actually,
and plus, like your account size for instant funding is really small.
So obviously, prop firms have rules to follow as a trader. What rules have you learned that you have to adapt your trading to, and how have you done that?
Trying to think.
No, you're good. I can give you an example of a rule.
Yeah.
Should we? Okay, so we'll go through the news rule. What do you do for the news rule? How do you get around that?
The main problem is with rules and prop firms, because I've got so many different accounts and with so many different prop firms, it's kind of hard to keep up with the rules and adapt essentially. But what I'll usually do is, let's say one prop firm, they don't allow me to trade news, and the other one does, I'll trade that account through, like, if I'm expecting to hold through news.
Okay, so you would advise trading news?
Yeah, I've done it before. Like, it works. You can definitely.
Well, NFP?
I've not about NFP. I've done like CPR and stuff.
Okay, and you don't think that's an anomaly in your trading because it's
gambling?
I would deem it as gambling. Yeah.
No, it's not.
You don't think it's gambling?
It's not.
But you can't predict news.
You can though.
How?
With technical analysis.
I disagree.
It's worked so many times.
How many times?
A lot of times.
Can you show me trades where it's worked?
No, you know one thing with I don't know if it's just my strategy. Whenever I hit stop loss, usually, like not sound controversial, 70% of the time I know I hit stop loss. I'll find a reason. Whether in the moment when I was taking the trade, it was a good or bad trade. That's another story for another day. But usually I'll be able to find the reason why I hit stop loss.
Okay, so you trade CPI and you don't deem it as gambling.
I don't trade every single CPI.
Well, yeah, obviously,
and
yeah.
more time news like in this day and age doesn't really do anything.
But the data releases after the news is dropped. So if we have 1:30 news coming out,
Yeah.
what type of technical you use the same technical analysis based off the news as well?
I'll use the same technical analysis. Yeah.
Okay.
News is just a driver towards the drawn liquidity. That's it.
A driver
it will
to
manipulate. Drawn liquidity is like where the market will go, like to a higher order.
Okay, cool. And how do you tell? So you trade with a lot of firms currently, right? What makes you kind of decide what a good prop firm is?
As in, if I'm being honest, I kind of look online and see what other people are saying, and then I'll speak to people that I know that are not like got influence privileges, and then I'll see what do they think.
Yeah.
Because if they're getting paid out, I'll get paid out.
Do you focus on rules a lot of the time?
Yeah. Another thing as well, market conditions. Because I trade like with a lot of prop firms these days, like, the main problem they have with Forex, they don't have good market conditions. Like, they have really high spreads or like high commissions, whatever it may be. So I kind of focus on that as well. That's the first priority in my head, and then it's rules. Kind of both, if I'm being honest.
So focus on conditions first.
Yeah, because with or without good rules, if the market conditions are bad, you won't be able to trade properly. Like if you try to enter a buy and you're getting sent there, I'll sign up.
I think it's not that severe, but yeah, I'd agree. I think focusing on commissions
and slippage as well. Like there's some, I'm not gonna name the names. There's one particular firm. Their slippage.
I kind of want to know who it is.
Have you seen them recently? They weren't bad before. Like, I tried them before. They were actually really good, but recently their slippage.
Gone bad.
You're getting slipped twice your stop loss.
Do you think they've?
This is the main problem with it.
Go on, sorry.
Let's say your stop loss is there, and the price comes there. It will take you out, cool, but your stop loss hasn't even been hit. It will take you out at a price that never existed. That's the problem.
Do you think they're doing that to you on purpose?
Guaranteed, yeah.
Do you think it's because of you specifically, or do you think it's everyone?
No. Everyone goes for it. Like, you'll see online, everyone goes for it.
Because I trade with them and I haven't really experienced that, so you might have just got put on some bad
a big stop loss.
I don't really. I trade 10 pips.
Big? The hell?
Bro, that is not a big stop loss.
That's a big stop loss.
No,
How long are you in the business for?
30 minutes to an hour.
Chatting.
Straight down.
What do you go for, 1-to-1s?
I'll go for 1 to 5.
Chatting. Oh. Impossible.
You trade, what was your pip stop loss that you said?
3 to 6.
You're out in 1 second.
I'd rather be out in 1 second and know I'm out than be.
I don't want to be wrong in 1 second. I want to hold that trade, and I'll allow room. The pip stop loss you use on your USD is 3 to 6, you said.
Yeah.
Do you not think in the long run that won't be sustainable?
No. I've seen traders, even like big traders in the industry, they've done it. You just adapt to a whole nother trading style.
Do you not think that you need to give the pair room at all?
No, because 9 out of 10 times, if you've got a tight stop loss and you're trying to catch, like, not the high low of the day, but you're trying to catch a proper distribution move, if price continues going beyond that, you accept the loss. Like,
you're saying it's dependent on the strategy? Yeah,
to an extent. Here's the thing, with your big stop loss, I'm assuming you're not in the 1 minute time frame with a 10 stop loss. Yeah, it makes sense. It's all relative.
It is all relative. I think long term, again, it's different strategies, isn't it? I trade Wyckoff, so mine's a lot of reaccumulation.
That's meant to be small stop losses, no?
Nah.
Every Wyckoff trader I know.
That's stop loss below the accumulation zone. And the zone, it's dependent on how big the zone is.
Wyckoff is just liquidity market shift now. Because there's that spring. I've never studied it, but I saw something about it.
You're on the right lines slightly, but no. It's that's an easy way of putting Wyckoff. That's in putting it in a very small bracket, but it's more so
a chart pattern.
No.
It's basically a chart pattern.
I mean, everything in theory is a chart pattern. It's how you process the information that's provided in front of you. I mean, I'd say ICT is just chart pattern trading. Do you not think?
Fair enough.
Would you say that
you've got a point-ish?
I'd say your strategy is like an inverse head and shoulders.
As your strategy is upside down W, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I think having that small of a stop loss though is a bit controversial, but we'll see what the viewers think, because I think personally, long-term wise,
go over your trades, and actually, I know it's all relative though, but I'm generally asking that out of curiosity. Go over your trades and look at your trades and look at, let's say it's 10 pip stop loss. Look at the ones that go to 9 pips and do a reverse. 9 out of 10 times, I'm assuming they don't.
My trades just go when I enter.
Oh, yeah.
I never touch my stop loss. I'm joking. So you're from South Asia, right?
Yeah.
Typically in your culture, your parents would want you to go to university, correct?
Yeah, or get an apprenticeship.
Okay. So how have you got around that? Because I'm sure a lot of the viewers will be in the same situation as you, where their parents want them to do this, this, and this, but they want to do something for themselves. So how did your parents deal with it, and what advice would you have for them?
I'll be honest, everyone's parents are slightly different, and me personally, in school, I was always naughty. Like, if I'm being honest, anyone that knows me outside of trading, they would know in school I was always naughty. So I think because of that, I kind of set the standard to them over the years that I wasn't going to go to university, I wasn't going to go. So in their mind, they kind of always accepted it. Like before I obviously dropped out, and then when I dropped out, it's just like all they could do is kind of tell me.
So do your parents see you as a failure now?
Well, I'm hoping they don't. But before, back in the day, they definitely used to. Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Hopefully now they don't. But
Hopefully, yeah.
you might have to ask the question.
I'll have to call them up.
Do your parents compare you to your cousins, brothers, other family relatives? Say this guy's a failure. You're not doing next like
who
him.
they'd compare me to. They'd more so just say like they'll say like Bengali Manchar Sultan, you know, like what other people's children. So like other people, they go ahead and do that. They don't really compare me to. There's not really a cousin to compare to, if I'm being honest.
So what's your current relationship status?
I'm quite a single man.
Currently single. Do you think having a relationship, a girlfriend or boyfriend, do you think that will impact your trading? Do you think that will impact your career?
It could definitely be a distraction, especially once you're on the come up. Like for example, if you're unprofitable and you've got a girlfriend you're going out with every week, you're lost. Like you should be backtesting. You should be working on actually trading.
I think if that's the case, then you picked the wrong girl. Because you should have a girl that's...
How can a girl support you in trading? She's not going to be there when you hit slots. So that's all right.
It's true, but I think it can be a benchmark for you to develop on, no?
What do you mean?
So, for example, you've got someone to prove. You've got someone to look after.
Well, you don't need a girlfriend to have someone to prove. You've got your parents. You
true.
owe it to them. Forget proving it to someone. You owe it to your parents.
Could be an extra motivational element in your life,
You don't need motivation, you need discipline.
Don't need motivation, you need discipline.
That's what you need.
How do you get discipline then?
Just to build over time. Discipline isn't going to the gym every day. It's not. That's technically discipline. Yeah, discipline is doing something when you don't want to do it. For example, if I'm laying in bed and I'm comfortable, and I know I have to go iron my clothes, it's not the most disciplined activity in people's head. But the fact that if I was to get up out of bed, out of that comfort, and go and iron my clothes and then go back in bed, that's discipline.
Do you not think you need motivation to push you towards doing a disciplined task?
Motivation lasts very. It goes very quickly.
Yeah.
Motivation goes. What's the purpose of having motivation if it's gonna go?
So you don't think a girl would...
Of course, you feel motivated. Like there was times when you feel motivated, but without discipline, that motivation won't take you anywhere. Motivation can get you started. Don't get it twisted. But without discipline, you won't go anywhere.
Yeah, I agree. So you don't think a girl can help you build that?
Distraction.
Have you experienced a girlfriend?
No, stop. He's got me.
There you go.
No, I just know women are distractions. Wait, astaghfirullah, I need to take that back. I'm gonna get cancelled for that.
No, that's fine. I agree. They can be.
Yeah, they
100%.
can be.
I think being careful is important, making sure you've got the right one around you.
In this day and age, the majority of them are distractions.
And a lot of the time, there's someone always better than you and bigger than you and more profitable than you. So you've got that element. You need to be that guy before you get a girl, I think.
Yeah.
But it's also nice to get to the point where you get a girl that wants to build an empire with you. I think is pretty cool.
That's all rubbish, man.
But not when you're not profitable though. I think it's a bit of a struggle then. Maybe get a few payouts and then you'll be alright.
Maybe, but I don't know. You won't really find a girl. How can a girl in this day and age benefit your trading? If we're talking about trading, I don't really see it.
Do you see yourself getting a girlfriend in the future?
Get married, yeah, not a girlfriend. Haram.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, married. Do you see? Well,
yeah, 4 wives, inshallah.
Four wives. Okay. So I want to touch on more of your life and where you've come from. Give me like a difficult period of time in your life and how you overcome it.
I'd say the most difficult journey and part that I've ever gone through was last year when I dropped out and I had nothing to show to anyone. And every day my family would tell me, go get an apprenticeship, go get a job, whatever it may be. And it just wasn't working out. And I just couldn't prove them. I had nothing to show. So
what pushed you to get to that point where...
I was so sick and tired of the position I was in. Like, I had no money. Generally, wallahi, like, I can send you guys a screenshot, you guys can post it. I had £0. I think one time I was in overdraft or something.
Yeah.
Like, I had no money.
So you had no other option?
I couldn't do anything. I was so sick and tired of the position I was in. I couldn't afford to... I remember seeing my mum pay for the bills. Like, I remember she rang me out once to go... we were shopping to help her out. And she expected me to pay, man. I remember looking at her face and I couldn't pay. Like, she had to tap her card, but she longed the offer of it. Like, where's my card? Hoping I'd have the money.
And trading's got to the point where you can do things like that for you.
Yeah. Well, that's just...
Yeah. I think... what was I going to say then? I was going to add to that. Pause that a sec. Was there? Do you think, apart from the money side of trading, do you think trading and community around trading itself, do you think that helped you kind of get through that tough patch as
I
well?
wouldn't say community. No one's there when you're at rock bottom. No one's there. Like, as cliche as it sounds, no one's there.
So, okay, apart from the community,
Yeah.
trading itself, just putting your head into the charts,
Yeah.
learning, developing it, actually doing something in your life. Do you think that actually?
It gave me purpose to an extent because I was working on a bigger mission. I'm still working on a bigger picture.
Yeah. Yeah. So trading give you a lot of purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you're profitable, right?
Yeah.
What makes you different to the 95? Sorry. What makes you different to the 95% of traders that aren't profitable?
I've always said this on my page. All success comes from Allah. Like, I don't know if you guys are religious in there, but all success comes from Allah. So I'd say getting on your deen, getting that relationship with God, wherever you follow, so Raji, Islam, but wherever you follow, just having a higher purpose and following that essentially.
So it's not based off dedication, technicals, fundamentals?
Yeah, that can only get you so far. Because
Okay.
like in Islam, we believe things are written for you. I don't know if this is the answer you guys want, but
So I'm not religious, and I'm profitable.
yeah.
So what did it for me?
How'd I tell you it was going to go to Jannah?
What was that?
Nah,
okay.
Will Allah guide you in it? I don't know.
Allah guide me. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be like. So for the people that aren't religious out there, how would you make that answer a little bit different?
We believe that Allah, He gives, like, this world means nothing. So whether you're religious or not, you can still get it, but you will never find peace. That's why a lot of these guys, like all these, not influenced, but more so the celebrities and stuff, they've got everything. They've got the cars, the mansions, the houses, but they're not content inside. That's like, a lot of them, they're still on drugs, all this stuff, they commit suicide because they're not content.
Yeah, I think it's a tough subject.
If anything, I feel bad for people that don't worship a God. If anything, I've got respect for them. Because
But
the fact that they can go every day through that pain, you've got my respect.
But I also want you to understand that you've done it for yourself as well.
Mm.
So, saying 100% respect on that, but you also are the one that put the hard work in and dedication.
You did put in the work, but at the end of the day, there's people that work twice as hard as me. And even like rich people, they say it a lot. There's people out there that work twice as hard as me and they do this, finds it, but they don't get it. There's multiple factors on success. It's not just your hard work and dedication. That does have a big part to play in it for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But there's multiple factors to success.
I think there's probably, a lot of traders out there that are religious as well that aren't profitable. So why aren't they profitable?
It's a test. We believe it's a test.
It's a test.
And it makes you into. You got to understand, when you ask God, though, in general, when you want something in life, whether it be to become profitable, to get this car, you're going to go through it. You have to be the man before you make it.
What happens if they never make it?
You just didn't become the man then, I'm assuming. You
But
just
then,
gave up.
is that
you
Allah?
can't, no, here's the thing as well. You can't, there's no such thing as not making it if you don't stop. It's impossible. Generally, it's impossible. If you go at it every single day, you'll get it.
So what happens if someone has never passed a funded account and...
You keep going. Like, I blew 20 funded accounts before I got my first payout.
20?
Going. Yes, 20.
We should have spoke about that. That's good content.
We're going to now.
And
You just asked me like how many funded.
so, okay, so apart from Allah and the religion side of it, what has made you profitable? That's what I'm trying to get the point of.
What has made me?
Like specifically,
Yeah.
fundamental, like whatever it is.
I'd say working on my psychology, because that was the last barrier that a lot of people tend to go through before they reach profitability. Because you can have good psychology but a bad strategy, you'll never get profitable.
Yeah.
You can have a bad, not a bad strategy, but you can have a bit of a bad strategy, but if your psychology is good, you should get far. You'll get further than the guy that doesn't have good psychology.
Yeah. I think I've asked this before, but with the psychology part, no, I did ask that before. So how many funded accounts how many evaluations have you blown?
I blew 20 funded accounts before I ever got my first payout.
And what was the main factor on why
Psychology.
you
Psychology.
didn't even let me finish
no,
the
no,
question, yeah.
I just know straight away it was psychology, man.
But what specifically in your psychology?
Overtrading.
Overtrading?
Yeah. Overtrading, just taking bad quality sales. That was my main problem which I had. And then when I took action to actually try to put an ending towards it, that's when the majority of it ended. Of course, here and there I still have a bad day, like fully transparent. Here and there I still have a bad day, but it's a lot more controlled now.
Yeah. And obviously, how long did that go on for?
Like a year.
A year?
Yeah.
What made you not give up?
It's that first day in trading, or the second day, where I made $1,000 in the day. The fact that I came that close. And before, in that year, it was not like I was passing funded accounts, and I remember once I had a funded account, I got it to payout stage, but the thought didn't even come to me to wait for the payout. So I thought, let me keep trading. I made 2-3%, lost it.
So your advice to the viewers is just keep pushing forward.
Yeah, keep pushing forward. Unsecure them payouts, small or big. That's the mistake I made. Even now, like I've made it. When I was funded with Tekel, I was up like 6K on the account. Didn't cash out. Like I just wanted to let it run.
Wow. So you're trying to compound the account.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't suggest to the viewers to compound their accounts.
No, not when you're. I mean, if it's the first payout, I'd say secure it. Secure it.
I agree. I think securing the first payout, but then
Yeah. And then after, once you can start affording to, you've got more funders and rotations, then let it go.
again, it's all contextual. You know, if you're up 10K on a
Yeah.
funded account and you've got £100 in your bank account,
Yeah,
then
then, cash
take
out,
it 100%. But I think as you get bigger and bigger in trading, as you have more money in your pocket, you can start risking that.
You can, but then again, especially with the first payout, especially like, because the whole reason why I went with Conseco at the start was to see if you guys were legit. I should have secured that payout to see if I'd even get paid out. There's no point of me making 20, 30K trying to get a big payout if I wasn't even going to get paid. So I say, especially on the first payout, and if it's a firm that you're trying out, secure something.
Yeah. So after this podcast and you've seen the office, you've been introduced to the team, are you going for Tekel?
We'll try you guys out. I'll run it back, inshallah.
Yeah? You're going to make content on it?
Yeah, I'll make some videos if how fast I can, inshallah.
Okay, cool. All right, it's been a pleasure having you on. We'll start wrapping it up. Just before we close the podcast out, if you can look into that camera and give your best piece of advice to the viewers out there.
Stay consistent in whatever you do. Don't give up. That's all I can say.
Nothing more needs to be said on that. OneFX, thank you for coming on, and I'm sure you'll be on for more. And thank you all for watching.